But as long as we get good contact, it should be fine.
Okay.
And as long as it doesn't always fall in the same spot.
Yeah.
Because
it'll irritate her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the number been?
Most of the week it was like 22 to like 26.
Yeah.
But there have been times like when it's gotten up to like mid-30s and low 40s.
So what we'll do is I'll have you show me just what you've been practicing, then we'll work on to the second.
Pickle, what are you doing?
The second phase, okay?
Okay. You want to just do that?
Yeah, the back and forth stuff. Just show me how you've been practicing and how she's been walking, okay? Forgot my mask.
She's probably been a little more in front of us than she was here.
Yeah, so there's still tension here.
Yeah,
so there should be no tension, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not as scattered, but there's still tension. Okay, let's go and swap handlers.
Yeah, it's just been, the walking's been better. The, you know, she's not going after sticks. I mean, it's been really good.
What's the number currently at right now?
Like 26.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You're over my mask.
Good. Go ahead and come over. Sorry, go ahead and come to a stop. There you go. So I can see the improvement. Less scattery, more calm down.
Yeah.
Now, when you first started walking her, did you feel that constant tension? Okay. So right off the bat, you want to go into a turn with the tap to correct her because there should be no tension.
Right.
Because you walked all the way over there like this, but then once you turn, she actually. She was probably thinking correction. She was actually walking back better on the return.
Yeah.
And then for you, I saw you started, and then you turned like right there, and then turned again, and then your walk was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But there should never feel tension. You should never feel tension on the leash. That means she's definitely out of place. And then you're gonna be. She's always learning. Okay, so like. You could get her to be as good as you want her to be, really well trained, and then if you practice bad habits, you're gonna go back to what it was before. Okay, so we're gonna tighten all that stuff up today. Otherwise, I can see the difference. That's good. We're gonna go ahead and add in the word of heel today, so we're gonna have an actual on switch. Because I think last week we just talked about the break to let her go free and stuff.
Yeah.
So break is the off switch, heel is the on switch.
Okay.
The next thing we're gonna work on are turns. So you're not always going to be turning this way. You're going to have to turn left at some point and all that stuff. We're going to go for that as well. And that's a very, there's a leg movements that we do, specific leg movements that we do to cues for the dog what we're doing. So that so she can actually read your body language and turn with you. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the word of heel. And when you come to a stop, has she been like just sitting on her own, or does she like stand?
It just depends.
Okay. So I'm going to teach you how to do the auto sit. Now, when it comes to the auto sit, it's whenever you come to a stop, Pickle should just automatically put that butt down. Okay. We don't cue sit, it's a part of the heel command.
Yeah, no, I mean, and sometimes, again, we haven't done anything with it. She's a pretty good sitter anyway, like she'll follow that command with the tree. So.
Correct. So we want to teach that as a default behavior. When we say heel, it means walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. So otherwise, you're always having to say heel and then sit. Heel, then sit, right? So the exception here is obviously it's going to be colder, snow's going to come and all that stuff. is if the dog is uncomfortable with sitting,
Oh, yeah.
I don't worry about reinforcing it.
Yeah.
So then, like, you know, during the wintertime, it's fine, but then come spring or whatever, I would start to incorporate it in. Okay? The automatic sit is what keeps you out of trouble when you're stationary.
Okay.
A lot of times when people stop, if the dog is standing, they get bored, and they start to kind of just wander around and like drag the wheel all over the place. So having her do an automatic sit just keeps her out of trouble. Okay? So what we're gonna do here is very simple. You're gonna be starting with your left leg, right? So you have to be next to people like you were, and you're gonna cue the word heel, and then you're gonna forward with your left leg first. Okay? And then you're gonna start walking. So it's super simple. When you come to a stop, once you come to a stop, if Pickle does not sit down on her own, I'm gonna have you lightly pull up on your leash, and I'll coach you through it, and tap, to see if she puts that butt down. Okay? We'll see how she does. Now, when you start walking, you of course want to make sure that you give her the slack. I think, or did you show it to the kids?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're gonna go and start with that. We're gonna go say heel, and then we'll forward with our left leg.
Heel.
We're gonna turn, tap, and relax. Remember, no pulling. Keep going, relax. There we go. And you're gonna slow down to a stop. That's good. Now up on your leash and tap. Wait a moment. Tap. Tap. You want to bump it? Try. You're at 26. Try 30. And you can trade that. Okay, now she did that on her own, but we're gonna take it. Okay. You're going to let your leash go slack a little bit again, and you're going to say heel and forward with your left leg. You're going to turn, tap, tap, good. Relax your arm, good. Then you're going to slow down to a stop. Okay. Now, there you go. Now you can praise the girl. She sat by herself. Now, if she starts to curve in front of you, you want to keep your direction, because you ended up turning with her there. Okay, so you always want to keep it straight. We're going to do that a few more times. Heel.
Heel.
Sharp turn, tap, tap. Keep your arm relaxed, tap. Going to slow down to a stop. Let me have you grab the box and hit the pager function. You're gonna grab, the one on the front right there, that page,
That little, this thing?
That.
Yeah.
Now grab the box as well.
Grab the box.
Oh, never mind. I was checking to see if that collar was on.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah, I saw it blinking right here.
Yeah, okay.
Because I don't think we have connection here. Go ahead and tap on the 30.
Tap on it?
On the nick.
Yeah.
There you go. A tap.
Sorry.
Tap. Tap. So you see how her neck is twitching?
Yeah.
But she's not
responding.
She's not responding. She's going 35.
All right, I agree with you.
Yeah, distractions coming. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you taking a picture?
Yeah, we're training.
Pardon?
We're training right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What's her favorite thing? Saying hi. Okay.
Okay, and relax. Okay, and go ahead and give some slack here.
Okay.
And you're gonna right turn. Tap. Turn to your right. Right turn.
Right, yeah.
Tap.
Sorry.
Tap. There you go. Relax your arm. Forward. Tap forward. Tap forward. Good. Now slow turn. Good turn. Keep forward. Good. Slow down to a stop. Good. Now up on your leash. Tap. 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 Let's go with 40. And you can praise her here.
Girl.
Good. And heel left leg. Keep, give slack. Remember, you want to leave that slack. There you go. Heel.
Straight.
Yep.
Right.
Forward tap. Good. Tap. One slow turn. Good. phased by it at all. What number are you at currently? Good praise? Probably 42. Okay, we're gonna try a couple more. And relax your leash. And forward heel.
Heel.
Good. Relax your arm. Good. Slow to a stop. Good. Yeah, keep straight. Now up. Tap. 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 So,
Can I say sit? I mean,
no, because you're trying to make it a part of the command. So if you say sit, it's a separate command.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be automatic. So we're using the pressure to get her to put her butt down to resolve it. Okay? So now technically she's not in the heel, she's in the sit.
Okay.
Just so that you're aware. Because whenever you give a new command, it overrides the old command. Okay, we're gonna try one more. Heel.
Heel.
Good slow turn. Good turn. Just slow to a stop when you're ready. Better. There we go. Now praise. That girl. Good job.
There she did. Yeah.
Next, just want to swap handlers. Okay. Good. Now relax your arm. Get some slack. Good. Heel.
Heel.
Good. Good. Relax. Slow turn. Good. And slow to a stop. Tap. 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 Let me have you try this. You're going to grab the leash with your right hand. And then with your left hand, put pressure on the butt down. Tap. And praise. Good girl. Good. And then relax your leash. And we're going to go into the heel again. Good. Tap forward. Good. Slow turn. Good turn. And slow to a stop. Good. Up. Tap. Tap. And praise. Atta girl. Good job. Good girl. All right, try 3 more. Heel. Heel. Good. Slow to slow turn. Slow to stop when you're ready. And praise. Good girl.
Good girl.
And do 2 more. Heel. Heel. Tap forward. Good. Slow to slow turn. Good. Keep relaxed. Good. Slow to a stop. Yeah, there you go. And praise. Atta girl. Good job. Here we do 1 more. Heel. Slow to slow turn. Good. Slow to stop when you're ready. Good. And praise. Yeah, the girl. So she already started putting that butt down on her own. So if I see her putting her butt down, I leave the leash alone and let her complete it by herself and just praise when she's done.
Okay. Yeah.
So heel starts the command.
Yep.
The reason for the left leg is because dogs have a wider peripheral range. So she sees it as like a visual cue of now we're moving. Okay, so more advanced training, left leg means walk with me, right leg means don't move. Okay?
Okay.
Whenever you come to a stop, weather permitting, you should keep that. You should put that butt down.
Okay.
If you don't want to use the verbal cue, you want to use the tap and the leash, because then if you say sit, it's a totally different command, and then you end up having to say sit every time you stop. Okay, so it should be all automatic. So now what we're going to do, we're going to work on turns. The two most difficult turns are the crossover turn and the pivot. Okay, the pivot is what you were doing last week. So when Pickle got out of line, he would just 180 and go back the opposite way. Okay, and that will always remain in effect. So earlier when I was telling you guys to turn to correct Pickle, you were doing more of a rounded turn when it should be an abrupt turn. Okay, we're trying to correct her. Yes.
Okay.
Now if Pickle is paying attention, that's when you do the slow to slow turn, because she's being mindful. It would be unfair to do an abrupt turn.
Yeah.
So we only do those abrupt turns when she's already out of line because she's not paying attention.
Like if you pull it and
Correct.
that's the big thing.
Yeah, so like when you started walking and there was that tension, immediately I would have 180 turned and tapped to line her back up. But also the number was too low starting off, and we had to bump it, and then she started getting better with the walking. Okay, so we'll start with the crossover turns. I'm going to demonstrate these turns and I'll have you go through them. So if Pickle's on our left, before we're going to turn, what do we want to do?
Slow down.
Slow down, okay? So we're walking, I slow down, and I'm going to time it so that my right leg crosses over like this. Okay, the sharp 90-degree cut.
So you're making a 90-degree turn instead of
Yes, with a 90-degree turn, and crossing over Pickle. So you're turning left. So I'm crossing with that right leg, 90-degree cut. Very big step. Left leg, we're going to cross it again, and then we're going the opposite way.
And where is she? Is she in front of my team?
She's right beside you. Right, so she's here. So 180, she should, or no, 90-degree cut. She should naturally pivot or stop. And then if you cut it again, she should stay on that left side.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now this is when Pickle is paying attention. Okay? If Pickle is ahead of you and you try to turn, it's not going to work out.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So she needs to be right beside you. So if she were to be here, you would do the correctional turn to line her back up again and then try the crossover.
Okay.
So we slow down, right, left, right, slow down, right, left, right. So if you did this on the regular sidewalk, you would stay within the width of that sidewalk. Okay? Because on the third step, you're already going back the opposite way. For the pivot, it's
able to return it, so it's bad.
Before, except now we're going to be doing it in a very controlled fashion so that Pickle can see what you're doing. So you would slow down, and it's going to be left, right, left. So like let's say you're on the sidewalk, and you need to like turn around, but there's people behind you, you're not going to be able to pivot. Okay? So you have your crossover.
Okay,
Now
that
on
I
the other side
understand
of
the
the sidewalk.
crossover. Right, and the pivot is just, that's just where to turn around.
Turn around. So that they both turn you around,
I got you.
except that there's people here.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, now you have the pivot. Okay?
Okay.
We're going to start with the crossover first. That tends to be the hardest for people, so don't worry if you mess up. I'm going to coach you through it. You're going to start with heel, left leg, and when you're ready for that turn, and I'll tell you like slow down, and I'll say get ready for that turn. You're going to time this that right leg. It's going to cut in, left leg, right. Okay. Heel, heel. Okay, go ahead and hug towards the right on the sidewalk to give yourself space. Good. You're going to slow down and get ready to cross that right leg. Right, left, right, like that. That's good. You just keep forward. Go ahead and hug to the right a little. Give yourself space. You're going to slow down and get ready for that left turn. Right, left, right. Very good. We're going to try 3 more.
That makes sense. Okay.
You just like getting in front of her, it's a visual
Yeah.
cue.
Yeah. So, because she's not going to want to collide with you, so that they naturally pivot. Right, left, right. Good. You can see she looks up.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's going, what's going on? We're going to try 2 more. Good. We'll try 1 more.
Walking like that.
What's that?
She's like, why are you walking like
Yeah.
that?
We're gonna slow to a stop. Good. Yep. Very good. And brace. So those look good. The first two were good. The last three, there was something we forgot. No, you said yield. But you stayed in motion, so you didn't repeat it. What do we do before we turn? Yeah. So on the last three, I don't know if you noticed, but she kind of like her head was like this because it was abrupt. So we're gonna try that again. Okay. We're gonna try that again. This time, slowing down, and I'm gonna have you like drastically slow down to make it very obvious. Okay. Try it again. Heel. Right. Ready for it? There you go. That's fine. Very good. Perfect. Let's try two more like that, okay? There you go. That was much more smooth. Excellent. One more. Yep, you got it. Good. Then go ahead and slow down to a stop. Very good. And a girl. So now we're going to do the pivot. Okay? So same process. You want to make sure you slow down prior to that turn. When you slow down, it's going to be left, right, left. Now we're going the opposite way. Okay? So from where you're standing, go left, back on right, and turn left like that. That's the pivot. Okay, go ahead. Yep, there you go. Good. We're gonna try four more like that. Yeah. Always slow down before a turn and always slow down before a stop. Just like driving. Yep. Give her a little bit more slack. Like 6 inches, that's good. Yep, very good. And a girl, two more. Right, there you go, good girl. One more. Yep. Very good. You're going to come up, you'll stop about right there. Excellent. So you see how you didn't have to do any remoting and stuff there? Yeah. It's because one, you have her attention because we did some corrections earlier. Right. But now you're communicating through body language. Okay? So this is not something that we're teaching her. She naturally reads body language. Okay, so we're just talking in a manner that she understands, which is why it's so quick. Okay, so it's really just teaching the owner how to use their leg movements to communicate. Okay, so now what we're going to do is the same thing, but I'm going to have you go between those turns interchangeably. Okay, so you decide left turn, crossover, crossover turn or pivot turn. Okay, if your communication is correct and she's paying attention, there should be no remote. She should be right there at your side. And I don't know if you noticed on those couple of those last pivots that you did there, she was like stopping and watching and like moving with you. Yeah, so she's just reading what you're doing. Okay, when you're ready, heel. All right, good pivot. And a curl. Good turn, but no slow there. Okay, yeah. You can say yeah. Yeah, so always slow down. There you go, much better. Much better. Good. Good pivot. Good. See how she stops and kind of gradually turns. Yeah, that's good. We'll do a few more. Yep. Good.
Like,
It can take a little practice.
I know. I realize we're
Oh, the dogs are the easy part.
Yeah.
Dogs are always the easy part.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with those crossovers first, okay?
Okay.
Again, leading, like I said earlier,
My right,
90-degree
the
cut.
front,
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Right in front of Pickle,
Uh-huh.
then left, cut again right in front of Pickle,
Okay, gotcha.
going the opposite way. Okay? And heel left leg.
Heel.
Now. So there, go to slow to a stop. See how that felt awkward?
It did. It felt really awkward.
Why did it feel awkward?
Because I didn't slow down.
Okay, what else?
I did right and then I think I did right again.
Oh, sure. Because you got thrown off, because she was in your way.
Oh,
So when you went to
yeah.
turn, she got in front of you and you stopped, so then you have to go right again? But it's because she got distracted.
Yeah.
Right,
okay.
she got distracted, she didn't see what you're doing, so she kept going, right? So technically there, you would have gone into a correctional pivot
Okay.
to tap her to get her back to your side,
Okay.
okay? So, go ahead and try that again when you're ready, okay? Good. Good. Keep straight, good. Hug to the right a little, give you some space. There you go, good. Better, much better, good. Right, good, 3 more. Yep, power through. You got it, good job. 2 more.
It's just an awkward feeling.
Isn't it? Yeah, because you have to like, you know, you have to actually think about how you're walking now. Yeah, just cut in. Okay, good. So that was a little awkward there, right?
Yeah.
Because she wasn't aligned correctly. So technically, if it ever feels that way, forward tap, good. I just default into that correctional turn. Okay, we're gonna try it one more time.
Heel.
Good. Good, and just slow to stop. So you can see how she's getting distracted here because the dog's
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
but she should be right by your side.
Yeah.
So even if you're coming to a stop, because this happens all the time where people, your intention is I'm going to stop, right?
Right.
But if she keeps going, I always default into that turn, correct her to bring her back at my side. Okay? Because then, even though I get it, we're stopping, but we're allowing bad habits.
Yeah.
And
I
eventually,
understand.
she'll
Yeah.
start pulling again. Okay? So now we're going to do those pivots.
Okay. Remind me. Okay. So you go left,
Left.
and then right, and then back. Then I turn to the left.
Yes,
Correct.
that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay. Heel.
Correction turn. Tap. Tap. Good. Keep forward. Relax your arm. Good. Keep straight. Good. Tap forward. Tap forward. Tap, tap. There she goes. Good.
Riley, go.
Good. Correction turn. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Tap forward. Good. The left turns or the pivots, I mean?
Yeah.
No, pivots are people tend to do naturally.
Yeah, it makes more
It's the
sense.
crossover that's a little bit harder for people.
Yeah.
Beautiful. A couple more. Yep, you got it. Good job. You got it. Good. One more.
One more? Okay.
Keep forward. Yep. Tap forward. Tap forward. Finger. And slow to stop when you're ready. Excellent. Good. So now what you need to do, same thing is you're going to be going to you're going between those turns interchangeably, however you want, between the pivot and the crossover. Okay. Yeah. When you train in a way that dogs understand, it's really good. Good turn, good pivot. Yep, good.
Sorry,
You got it. Good job. Good. Pivot. Just do a few more. Good. So you come to stop when you're ready.
I totally get that. I mean,
Very good.
I just
That last turn, there was a little of a shuffle.
Yeah.
By the
And
same
when you
token,
started the left turn, you did a small right. You did more of like a 45 degree as opposed to 90 degree.
Oh, yeah.
So then you ended up.
I had to take a bigger step.
Yeah. So it's awkward in the beginning, and like right now we're really kind of exaggerating that turn
Yeah.
because you're learning the body mechanics. Okay?
Right.
When I do this, I don't really like go like
Yeah.
that, right? It's a normal turn.
Yeah.
They're just pronounced steps.
Yeah.
But as you can see, intuitive for her,
Yeah.
right? Because dogs need body language.
Yeah.
One thing that I saw both of you do, which a lot of people do, is on those left turns, you're pulling back on that leash, trying to stall her or slow her down
Yeah,
so
so
you
we
can
get in
turn.
front of her. Yeah.
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 You shouldn't. Well, one, you don't need to do that. Right. That's what that slowdown is for, right? So if you slow down for Pickle, it's like again, like driving, right? If I pump my brakes and then stop, if the person behind me crashes into me, that's not my
It's
fault.
their fault.
Yeah, right? But if I just hit the brakes out of nowhere, that's my fault.
Yeah.
Okay? So same thing with turns. If you just cut off someone, switch lanes, no blinker, that's your fault. But if you put your blinker on and you see space and they're not paying attention and they're not slowing down to give you that space, right?
Yeah.
It's their fault. Well, maybe the insurance is different. I'm not sure about that. But in my mind, be their fault. Because I know they'd say like you're supposed to avoid a collision. Well, for the dog,
Right,
it's going to
yeah,
be your fault.
exactly, yeah.
Okay. So always before stopping, always before turns, slowing down.
Slow down. Yeah.
And now we have just a few more specific movements to make it very clear, right? So if you slow down, if Pickle slows down, that left turn should just feel very natural, very easy, very fluid. You should
Right.
never feel like you have to compensate.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people will be like this, and they're going like this, because the dog is forging. Like that tells me that you're aware that that's happening because you're having to compensate, right?
Yeah.
You should not have to compensate. It should be very natural. Just we're walking together. I communicate, she follows. Okay. So be mindful of that left arm because also you'll get locked up, and then next thing you know you're pulling back again, and then we create a pulling behavior. Always slowing down. If she's being mindful, it should be very easy. Those pivots. So the pivot now, let's say Pickle gets ahead of you, you wouldn't do left, right.
No, you
left.
just turn.
You just turn. Yes.
Abrupt turn.
Yes, because a lot of times people get mixed up. They think, oh, that's how we're supposed to turn. So the dog's pulling, they're doing left, right, left. So I'm like, but the dog's not even paying attention.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the
but
abrupt turn.
like in practice, so let's just talk on a practical level for a walk. Okay. So we're walking along. I mean, I'd be more likely to do the pivot just because it's an easier turn. I mean, should I still practice the crossover?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, because what can happen is she might start pushing into you like this and crossing over you, and the way we fix that is with the left turn.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay,
That makes sense.
So it's nice to just remember with leg movements.
Yeah.
And in life, you're not always going to have the ability to always pivot.
Right.
That's why we have that crossover. So
Okay.
you have two styles of turning to adapt to the situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you're doing just a soft left, which is I turn like this and I go that way,
Yeah.
you just cross with the right leg, but you just keep going straight.
Right.
Okay.
Just like a
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same thing for the right. If you're turning to the right, you're still turning left, but you're not pivoting here. You're turning like this.
Right.
Right? You're using that. You're using the leg. You're using the leg opposite to the turn to lead it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because of how their visual, their vision works and everything. Yeah. Because exactly. If you do this, you either end up tripping over your dog
Right.
or you end up punting them out.
Right.
Because especially if they're close, you're just right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know it's weird because a lot of trainers teach that, and people are literally shoving their dog aside.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but if you just use the right leg, it's like so much easier and natural for both the human and the dog. Because when they see that leg, they're going, oop, leg, and they're not wanting to collide with you.
Right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So, and if you ever feel, again, it's feeling awkward or you're having to compensate, most likely she's out of line.
Okay, just do a
Correct her.
Okay.
If you're coming to a stop and she looks like she's still going, turn, tap, turn again, slow down, try to stop
Right.
it. We want to be lined up just like that as much as possible.
Okay.
So the more black and white you are with that stuff, the better she is. Heel is not about the dog doesn't pull as much. It's very strict. Right shoulder to left leg, no tension. Right, sit when I stop. Because people tend to go by, well, the dog doesn't pull that much, or the dog's not as bad as they used to be.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
So much better now.
Okay? Yes.
So, I have a question. Like when we're walking and she's healing and she wants to say hi to a dog, do I just say break?
Correct.
Okay.
But you'd want to come to a stop
A stop,
first,
okay,
and
gotcha.
then release. Because if you, as you're walking, say break to the dog, every time you pass by a dog after so many times, she's going to assume you're going to release her as you're
I
walking.
understand. Okay.
So the
Okay.
stop just adds a little bit of
Okay,
a barrier.
That makes sense.
That
and
makes
then
sense.
we release.
I wasn't
So if
really.
she sees a dog coming, just stop, let her sit down, then say break, and then she can go.
Correct.
Then
Okay,
she
great.
can play with the dog or whatever.
Yeah,
That makes
just add
sense.
that little, because like another thing that people do is when they walk by grass, they'll just break the dog as they're walking, and then when they walk by grass, fast
They
forward a few
always-
weeks,
oh,
they're
that's-
complaining like, why does the dog always go to the potty when I walk by grass? And I'm like, well, did you
Yeah.
break as you were walking? They're like, yeah. I'm like, no, we always stop first, wait a moment, break. So it's very clear and defined
Okay.
that you're going from
that
this
makes a lot more sense.
to that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So and as we go forward and teach more obedience, anything that we release her from, it's break.
Okay.
Okay, that's the off switch. Okay.
Okay.
So the commands change in terms of sit, stay down, or whatever, but the release stays the same. Okay.
And we've shortened our walk a bit because, for your recommendation, because it's a lot of work to do this. When we want to take her on a longer walk, can we say break during the walk?
Oh yeah, just
And
have her
let
walk loosely.
Yeah, let her just sort of play.
Yes.
Okay.
So
that's good.
my general structure is 80% work, 20% play.
Yeah, we need more exercise.
Sure.
We couldn't cut it.
So like let's say you do like a 30-minute walk.
Yeah.
20 minutes can be structured heel, and 10 minutes can be loose.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good to know.
So it's 80% of whatever time you're doing
Right.
to 20% playtime.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
my
she'll
preference.
understand that she's on break when she's doing
As we get,
Are you talking about after you release her?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what inhibits your training is if you say heel and you're walking and you just like randomly like let her go,
Okay.
right? Because there's
You
no
wanna make a
clear
clear
defined
distinction.
distinction,
Okay.
yes, of
Yeah.
now you're off the clock.
Okay.
So when you cue break, it doesn't matter if she pulls you all over the place.
right,
Right.
good,
Okay.
because I want her to be able to have fun and,
Yeah, no, she's off the clock, right?
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
just know that she can technically pull you and do things that you
Yeah.
normally don't like, right?
yeah.
Well,
So
if
there's
it
no-
gets
Yeah, you
bad,
can't
then
go
you
back
can
and
put
forth.
her back on heel.
Then you would put her, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because people, a lot of,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
they're like, I don't want the dog to be like this. I just don't want him to pull me that much. I'm like, that's gray area.
Right.
Dogs don't do
They
gray area.
Yeah.
She's either under control
Or
or
she's not.
she's free to do
Yeah.
what she pleases.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's
And-
either healing or she's not.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
That makes perfect sense.
that's great.
Because I've been doing that wrong all week.
Yeah, I have to. I've
A
been-
lot of people
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So-
that's good.
And you could even like, let's say on a Sunday, right? Let's say fast forward in the spring or something. It's a really nice day, and you just want Pickle to be Pickle, and you just walk and meander for her for like 30 minutes. As long as you don't say heel, don't matter.
Okay, okay,
That's
Yeah,
that's good to
that's
know.
what matters. As long as you don't cue the command, it doesn't matter what she's doing. But once you cue the command, you have to reinforce it to the degree it's meant to be.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're gonna end up
Right.
untraining her
Yeah,
and
I
having a dog that
understand.
pulls again.
That makes perfect sense.
So,
Yeah.
and that makes sense with walking behavior.
Uh huh.
When we came to you, and this is so much better, like she isn't lunging at anybody, you know. And I never want to do that. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
even when she's off heel, I
Oh,
don't
sure.
want
Like,
her
how
to
do you
lunge
correct
at
that if she lunges?
kid or
Because
a
she technically
motorcycle.
can. Yeah.
Can you correct her then?
Yes.
Okay.
So, one, you may not see that. So, like all the stuff with kids here
Yes.
that we've seen so far, like I see no, because
This is so much.
there's no intent. I don't even
Right.
see like
So
the
much better.
want to do it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because that was unstructured brain. That's why I think you mentioned earlier she stopped shooting sticks,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because that was the brain unsettled. There was no limitations. There's no boundaries. It's
Right.
frustrated.
Yeah.
Frustration's got to go somewhere, so she's just chewing stuff, right?
Okay.
So once we settled the brain down, that's why those things go away.
That stuff should just stay
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
And I think I said
Okay.
it during the consultation too, where I was like, this stuff I'm not worried about because that should go away
Okay.
with the heel.
Right.
I mean, even today I was walking her and she wasn't like healing, she was a little bit in front of me. And a guy went by on this electric skateboard. A week ago that would have sent her into a war.
Oh, sure.
She would have had a complete fit and she didn't do anything.
Yeah, because now she's more passive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
Okay,
say she's
that's-
on her free time,
Uh-huh.
and you're correct, technically she's on her free time, so technically she could lunge or whatever, is you would simply remote when you see the thought or the action. Okay.
Makes
You just remote.
go
Yeah.
forward.
So
No
like let's
command,
say
no nothing. Just
exactly.
Just
So like let's
remote.
say a kid's running and you see her kind of like getting ready for a
Eyeing,
pounce.
yeah.
That's when you attack. You wouldn't wait for this.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now if this is already happening, of course.
Yeah.
But the best approach is always preemptive.
Yeah. That
Okay.
makes
Getting
sense.
it when the thought process
Well, yeah.
is just starting.
Because that way it'll short cut the action.
Correct. Because in order for her to learn to self-regulate with stuff like that,
Yeah.
is if she's doing the behavior of lunging and then you're tapping, for her it could be worth the lunge to take the hit.
Right.
Okay.
Of course.
But if
Yeah.
she's thinking about it and then you correct, the brain isn't allowed to keep escalating. So
So
then
she
she'll
doesn't
start to
get
think
the-
like, oh, I'm going to get tapped, so I'm not going to think
Exhilaration
about it anymore.
of the lunge. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like he said, you're just cutting it short, right?
That makes sense.
So I don't say words like no or stop or anything because I want her to not do it. Period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's the kind of thing. Like, yeah. As you said, like if she pulls around and plays during her playtime, that's great. I never want her to lunge it.
correct.
You know, never.
Correct.
So,
So the reason why we don't say anything, because you could say stop and then remote or go then remote, right?
Yeah.
Is then the way a dog brain works is it can technically do the behavior until you say something,
Mhm.
right? So she can keep lunging until you say no,
okay.
because that's when the tap is going to happen.
Yeah.
So I correct for the thought or the action, so she thinks I can't even think about
Right.
doing the thing.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll be corrected
Okay.
for it.
Right.
Okay. So when you want to eliminate a behavior, you simply remote. You do not give a cue. When you want to control a behavior, we cue. Right. So like heel. When
Yes.
we want it
Okay.
to turn
that
on,
makes, okay.
we cue it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Otherwise, if I don't say anything, she's free to do as she please.
Okay.
So same thing for things like that. When you're trying to stop something,
Yeah.
if you say no, for her, unless you say no, she can do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
that,
that
makes
makes
sense. Okay.
sense.
Perfect.
Because I can just kind of reflexively say no, you know
Yeah.
when I do it, so I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah.
Gotta stop doing it.
Just think about, if I want to eliminate this, we say nothing, we simply correct. If you want to control it, we say something.
Okay.
Okay?
That makes sense. That's perfect.
Other questions?
So now we've been taking it off in the house. You know, I left it on yesterday because had a short time. We forgot to take it off. Didn't want to take it off, put it back on. You know.
Sure.
So one thing she does on our deck is we have these big potted trees, and this is clearly just a habit. She will go out there and immediately jump up on them and start digging in the front.
Oh, sure.
So I was like, I've got this on.
Yep.
I tapped her, and she stopped. Then she's walking around a little bit more. She went over to it, started to sniff, and I tapped her again.
Yep.
And she hasn't done it since. Is that okay?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
logically as a human, she's just sniffing. So you actually did that correctly.
Okay.
Because most people go like, well, the dog wasn't digging, they're just sniffing. I'm like, but sniffing is the one,
Oh,
Right.
right. That's yeah.
and
Right.
the digging is the 10.
Right.
That's right.
So
exactly.
you're like, don't even go near the pots,
Right.
right? Because there's
Right.
nothing for her there
There's no
anyways,
reason
right?
for her to eat the dirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
So that
Yeah.
is completely fine, okay? And it's just being consistent with it,
Yeah.
okay?
And then one other question. We took her to the dog park a couple of times because her walks have been shorter. She's got to get her zoomies out, you know. And the first day was great. I mean, there were even little kids there. She didn't pay any attention to them. She played nicely. The second time, she was playing great. And a dog came in, and it was a smaller dog, but she'd been playing with the little dog, so it didn't have anything to do with that. It's just something about this dog set her off, and she got aggressive. And we tapped her, and then we just left because it was like, no.
Sure.
What's the best solution? for
So
that?
can you give more detail on what happened in that situation?
So it's weird. So she was playing with all these dogs. But there
There
weren't
were,
that many.
there
There
were
were like
only
two or
like
three
three
dogs
dogs.
there.
There weren't a lot of dogs.
But this woman brings in this dog, and it's a smaller dog.
Okay.
And
With a big harness, kind of.
but she'd been playing with this other little dog.
Okay.
She was fine. But what I think triggers it for her is this other little dog was really passive, and she gets really, it makes her, it's like it makes her mad or something.
Did the dog come in? Did she go to like sniff the dog?
Yeah, and
And
they
then,
sniffed for a little while, and
and-
they played, and then she got kind of nasty.
okay, so they sniffed, then played, and then she escalated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when they were playing, was the dog kind of like timid, submissive energy?
Yeah.
Okay. So what that sounds like is when dogs see weaker energy, they want to bully.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So like bullies, like human bullies, right? Bullies don't bully people bigger than them.
Right. Yeah.
Bullies bully the weaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we deal with insecure, nervous, anxious, whatever dogs,
Uh-huh.
they tend to be bullies. Okay. They tend to target the weakest energy.
Okay.
Okay.
And they just read it. I mean, it doesn't matter size,
Yeah, it's fine like that.
anything. It's just
Yeah, and it's instinctual.
Yeah.
Like in our world, we have empathy and sympathy and things like that, right?
yeah.
And we like save the runts. You know,
Right.
we're compassionate.
Right.
They don't do that in that world.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
they die.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly normal and natural. Doesn't mean it's acceptable, right? Like you
Yeah,
dictate
exactly.
what's allowed and what's not
Yeah.
allowed. So what I would do here is when you tapped her,
Yeah.
what did she do in response?
No, no.
We had to turn it up. I mean, we had
Okay.
her on
Yeah.
pretty low.
Okay, and then what happened after you went up?
I don't know.
We kind of, by that point, we just kind of pulled her away and we just took her
Okay, so she was still in a state of aggression.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so technically you were correct. Okay, now I advise in the beginning not to do that in the beginning because I don't want to make things worse.
Right.
But you don't have an aggressive dog.
Right.
Okay, typically when I'm dealing with an aggressive dog, I'm avoiding that in the beginning so that the owner doesn't make anything worse.
Yeah.
You don't know at all what the number was? Like even general thought?
on. I think I had her
Like
on.
40-ish.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, because like right now you were at 40 earlier.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, yeah, she wasn't that phased. I kept
Right.
saying that, right?
Right.
So knowing that, for me, I'm thinking that makes sense that when she went to a state of aggression, because you have to think she's adrenalized, she's emotional,
Exactly. It's gonna
right?
take a lot.
It's going to take more of a
Yes.
of a
Now the gamble you're going to have there is if you did that and you did crank it to 80 or 100, you risk your dog running away. Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
now we've not done recall.
Yeah.
So she's going to think, what the hell, and try to run
Right,
off.
yeah.
Okay, so that's the gamble you're taking there, just so you're aware.
Right.
But I've had other dogs. Do you guys know Roxy?
I don't know.
She's one of the dogs that goes with Travis. She comes
Yeah.
here too. It's a dog that I train.
Yeah.
But she had a moment where her dog and another dog went after a tennis ball at the same time and it triggered a dog fight.
Yeah.
And she had to max out the collar and her dog went 80. Okay, but we had already done training, right? So she had already had everything done.
She knew.
but she had to go that high to pull the dog out.
Yeah.
So technically, yes, you can use your remote. It's just if you've not done recall, you're gambling potentially for running away.
We were enclosed.
And the good thing is
so
we're in a
it
dog
was,
park.
Oh, okay, cool. So so you're fine.
Yeah. So we haven't done off leash.
Yeah. So me personally, I just keep going up until the dog stops and pulls out. Okay. Because if you try to pull them out yourself, you risk making them force as well.
Yeah, and,
So-
and she wasn't being that aggressive.
No, she wasn't like, it wasn't a fight.
She was just like growling, but not like.
Yeah, she was dominating.
Yeah, she was dominating.
She was
Exactly. She
dominating.
wasn't.
She wasn't like going after.
Right. But what happens is when they're in that state and you pull away,
Yeah.
you intensify it.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Because she did.
Yeah.
When I tried to pull her back, that's what she really started.
Yeah, that's what they
You
did.
know?
So
She's like, that's mine.
yeah, so that's why, it's like, and that's where you're at in terms of like your training. Like there's no real right answer, right? So it would be I use the remote, make her disengage and pull out, or if I do have to remove the dog, I pull up on the flat collar and I twist and it cuts off airflow, and then you're literally choking them out, right? But you'll start to feel them de-escalate, and then I remove them. So I don't do it until they pass out.
Right.
I do it so she needs to disengage.
Yeah.
If you try to physically remove her, you're gonna escalate the situation.
Okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
And I've seen dogs go from what you're saying like that, and all of a sudden latch on.
Right.
And the owner's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because you tried to pull them away from the moment, and they didn't want to let it go."
Yeah, so the key is just to trust the collar, basically. Just crank it out.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you could be at 127, tap, tap,
Yeah.
tap, and she yips and runs across the dog park.
Yeah.
But she's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and like dogs bite each other.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's not going to die or anything like that. So my only concern would be if you were in an unenclosed area.
Right.
Right.
We're
Okay.
not there yet.
Yeah.
But what I would do here is if you see her, if you see the dog's got soft energy, you can prevent the problem by every time she goes to like engage with that dog, I just give a tap to deflect her so they don't interact. It's not going to make her not like the dog,
Right.
but she's going to give that dog space.
Mhm.
Okay. That's.
Yeah, just give her a
Yeah.
regular
There are
tap.
other
So-
options out there.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
there's
good.
there's preventative measures.
So you can
Okay,
de-escalate
that's-
before you have to.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like let's say you see a dog at the dog park who's not the friendliest,
Yeah.
Right.
and she wants to go engage, you would use the remote to deflect her.
And it's the opposite. It's like
Yeah,
keeping
it's
her
just-
safe, and the other way is
Yeah.
the
Like
other
an
dog's safe.
aversion
So, yeah.
therapy
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where
and
she
it's not going to make her not like the dog. She's
Right.
just going to think I can't
That doesn't
go to
work.
you,
Yeah.
like you're just off limits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she'll do her own thing, then leave her alone. Okay, so that's
That makes sense.
the flexibility of e-collar
Okay.
is that you
Yeah.
have, we have the training, the obedience stuff, but we also have like management, preventative
Yeah.
things, control,
Yeah.
the ability to remove her from a situation like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if that were to happen again, you either trust the remote and use that to get her to remove herself. If you feel like it escalates the situation, then it's really just do what you think is best, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Well,
there's no right
exactly.
answer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that doesn't happen. That's very rare. I mean, she's usually
Yeah, she's generally
loves
not
dogs. Like that's
aggressive.
not.
It's
Sure.
Except one dog.
that
in her
dog,
building.
and except one dog in our building, this old English setter who she hates.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's very
Yeah.
passive. He's deaf. He doesn't move very much.
Sure.
So
She's bullying him.
Yeah.
yeah.
So like in the human world, we give respect to those older than us, right?
Yeah.
And not their world.
They see the same.
A lot of times, though, like if I have
Yeah.
there's a home with an older dog and younger dogs, there's a hierarchy shift. But now the older dog can't defend itself, right? So then they start to bully the older dog. It's not
Yeah.
So I'll just keep an eye on it and see what happens.
Yeah, we can keep talking about it. So.
But yeah, otherwise I just pull up on the collar and hold until you'll feel her like start to de-escalate,
Okay.
and then go to remove her from the situation. And
That makes sense.
okay.
That's helpful.
Anything else?
No, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So
Yeah.
your homework for this week, apply
Yes.
all this stuff now.
Practice the turn.
What I suggest in the beginning, yes, is when you go to take her for a walk, start with the potty break first. Start with 5 heel to stops, 5 heel to left turns, and then 5 heel to pivots, just to warm up,
Okay.
and then do your walk.
That's great.
Okay, it's just to get it in your muscle memory.
Yep.
And then the hard part is going to be, I'm going to turn left at the stop sign.
Yeah,
Now you have
yeah.
to plan it and slow down and do that, okay? That's going to be the hard part.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, we'll see you in a week. If
That's
anything
great.
pops up, you let us know.
Okay.
It's supposed to be nice next Tuesday.
Oh, cool.
Supposed to
Thanks.
be
Yeah, I
like
think
in the
59.
high 50s.
Yeah, I don't mind coming out. We double checked because our client earlier canceled,
Okay.
Oh.
but it was
Okay.
snowing and stuff out,
Yeah,
and
it was.
I've been doing Zoom calls all day, so I didn't know what outside looked like.
Yeah.
Right.
So then I
Right.
just told Maria, I'm like, just see what they want to
Yeah,
do,
I
and
mean-
then we have no problem
Okay,
with it.
that's great.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great.
Awesome. Thank you
Okay,
guys.
thank
We
you very
Thanks,
appreciate
much.
it.
guys.